Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alex. Before we start, I would like to apologize for my English. It's not my mother tongue, so we're now probably in a certain family. If we make mistakes, please excuse me. I'm coming from the company within the name of CMA, and I will explain to you a bit later, the background for the subject. But today we will be discussing on what is called the art of color output in diverse media. In reality, I want to discuss with you what is called the challenges. Is it working? Yes. The challenges that we have, in fact, in our industry. Because the reality on the ground is that imagine a print shop, whereas they have different type of technologies and different printers. It can be a water-based printer, suddenly a solvent printer, a UV, latte, whatever it would be, different printers. Each one is printing in different medias. And the challenge is, as I said, on the production planning, where the hell I'm going to put a job in which printer, in which machine and whatever. Why? Because they have a serious challenge to have an output of the same color, whatever printer you may have or media you print. In fact, in order for us to go through this, I will invite you to see two things. First of all, the wall that you see there, because from far you may think that it's done actually, printer just cut. No. Each and one of the pieces is actually done completely in another material, completely another technology, and it looks like the same, but that's exactly the challenge we are talking about. So we are going to give you some bits and pieces on how to drive you to be able to produce, whether locally or remotely. I mentioned the art of color output in diverse media, diverse technologies. And afterwards, also invite you just over the corner to be able and see actually things being printed live. So in order to give you a quest, I'm going to show you a small video right now of a real case of the sort. And I also will apologize because this is a British gentleman that they speak extremely fast. So in order for you to understand, we slowed him. So he sounds a bit drunk. He's not. It's just slowed down. It means but at least you'll understand. Enjoy it.
Hello, my name's Sam Lloyd. My company's called iPOS. We produce point of sale and large window displays for lots of major international brands. We're based in the UK, but a lot of the work that we do travels all across Europe. This means that colour matching across different media and using different suppliers is absolutely key to us, which can make the process quite expensive. Using the cloud-based colour proofing solution from CMA has massively benefited my business. It's helped me reduce costs and also reduce lead times as far as clients are concerned. It means that I can remotely check colour proofing rather than actually having to travel to the country where we're producing the job. This has helped me attract more customers globally and really benefited iPOS.
Well, thank you. So till Ben reorganizes back into the presentation, again, iPOS in the UK, they produce point of sales around different locations in the world. And they have to do for certain brands exactly the same color, whether they are in Singapore, in London, Rome, or Tel Aviv, or whatever it would be. So it has to be the same. And they print locally, hence they are capable today to do, as I said, the capability of color output locally or remotely. Now, how we arrived to this art in order to be able, and by the way, you can come later on and touch it because there are you can be touching the materials and realize that they are completely different ones and so forth. So let's go, first of all, getting a bit information about what CMA is coming and where our expertise is coming all about. Is because CMA Imaging is coming from the photographic business, whereas there we are now in capacity of bringing our expertise into the digital media as well as for the packaging applications. So we are in the top notch of quality and the ability of color control, bringing that now into this industry and this business. And you will see how we succeed, to make it also locally as well as remote. And my colleague will give you some hints about it. But let's understand how the art works to do this job. Oop. Yes. Well, that reminds me of how to bake a good cake. You need to have the good ingredients. The good milk, the good butter, whatever. It's exactly the same here. Whereas in order, you need, first of all, a good media in order to print. Now, how to find a good media, I will give you some hints and bits about it. You need an appropriate color management software that will facilitate you to take out the appropriate color, as well, of course, the output devices, not to mention the ability to monitor, as I mentioned, locally and remotely, and the right partner. And why I mentioned the right partner? Because the ability to repeat again and again and again your high quality standard, this is why customers come over to you or your businesses, because you are the only one that can hit directly to the point. So let's go to the first pillar, which is actually the media. And what I'm going to share with you is, first of all, how to evaluate media and choose the right one. That's the most important part. Now, in order to be able to print, it really depends, first of all, on your application. Whether it's a water-based, it's solvent, it's UV, it's a latex, then the media obviously has to differ for the different applications. Just give you an example. The ones of latex, as I said, are being heated to a very high temperature. So you have a certain resistance required out of your media. You may understand, right, the differentiation between them. Now let's go on the principles on how media is designed, because this is exactly what CMA is doing, and is actually layering on the core the appropriate layers, and I will join you just here so you can understand. The core paper, thank you. The core paper is about 120 to 200 microns, depending on the grammage of paper. But then on top of it and on bottom of it, we start layering different things. Example, the white resin to give the paper the appropriate whiteness for color management issues and so forth. The absorption layers and so forth, the color filling and the protective layers, yada, yada. The thing is that each layer, for you to have an understanding, is between 20 to 35 microns. For you to have a comparison, a hair, which I don't have, anyhow, but a hair is between 50 to 100 microns. So imagine the layers that are between 20 to 35. So this is something very precise. What I tried actually to mention to you is that layering and media design is actually chemistry, the appropriate ability to absorb the necessary things within the media, as well as chemistry and engineering, the ability to arrive to this appropriately things. Thank you. Okay. Now, when we are talking about actually the media, as I said, that it is an engineering and chemistry, we need to understand that as much as the material is rougher, the color absorption will be higher. It means it absorbs more the ink, the color. But the problem is that the dots will become one on the other, and it will deter actually the image quality. As much as the surface is smoother, so it absorbs like less, and then so the art is finding the appropriate chemistry on the layering to enable the perfect usage of the media on the application done. For example, and later on you'll be able also to see, CMA Imaging has a special technology applied right now on media, which is called the CMA Smart Solvent or CMA Smart Nano Solvent, that enables the right absorption with no coloring. It's the precision, again, on photographic precision, and on top of it is the fastest drying, so you can put your productivity on 100% fast. So that's the fastest drying media in the market. That's what's called the CMA Smart Solvent. Moving on, if I'm pressing the button, yes. Let's see how we evaluate media in general, because a lot of people go all over and they want to evaluate media for their things. So how do we things? And I say, so there are two things that we can do. There are things we can do prior to print and others we can do after printing. So prior to print, when you go and check different media, if it's good, no good, we give you some bits and pieces. First of all, try, for instance, for folding a paper. You fold the paper and you start, looking for any time, as a prior to print, right? And you try to see any coating defects or any debris coming out. That means that something with the coating is not good at all. Then, an example, test what is called the ink base on the paper. Example, cast paper normally will have the effect if you drop, let's say if it's a water-based ink, you drop a drop of water on the paper and you will start seeing the effect, what we call cockling on the paper. This means this paper doesn't have a good coating or no coating at all. You understand what I mean? The cockling effect and so on. And this was a try, as I said, the base of the ink and try it on the media prior for you using it. Then try to curl the material. If you saw on the previous one, we have an anti-curling thing that the page remains like a flat. And if you curl, you see the reaction of the media. Now, there are two types of curls. One is dangerous. One is okay till a certain extent. So the dangerous one is called the positive curl. Imagine that we take a paper, and this is the layer that is going to print. If it's curling, this is called a positive curl. If there is a positive curl and it's entering into the machine, this may hit the printing head. And that is very no good, very dangerous, okay? So now, that's a positive curl. A negative curl is a better one, because it's not at least dangerous, but again, to a certain extent, because if it's going over, so you understand there is just, so this is why you have to test different things prior to print to see if the media will definitely serve your point. Now, after print, obviously, we have to look on what is called the image quality and absorption, color, how it comes. I mentioned about how the color is being absorbed in the material. This is why the coating, what I mentioned before, the nano solvent, is enabling the appropriate with the sharpness of the dots appropriately to have the photographic level. And as I said, I'm inviting you over the wall as well as on the printing so you can have a test of your life. Then the drying time, that's I remember I've been traveling around different places with solvent, and they were finishing the printing and putting that to dry as my mother would put the laundry. For them to dry, because otherwise there was so much. Guys, you're laughing, but probably you saw it within your eyes yourself. So this is happening as well. So the drying time affects your productivity. Remember that. Faster it dries, better the productivity you may have. And you will save some money because you can run a higher thing. Then physical resistance as for smudge and scratch and so forth, meaning that if you run from roll to roll, you will see that if it's not dried enough, it will start smudging actually on the other side of the roll. So you need to be very careful on all these issues. And the scratch resistance, obviously, as well, which are very sensitive. But this is why there are some layers that are absorbing and protecting at the same time. And this is the clever technology, as I mentioned, of layering. And then the durability. Well, depends on the application. If it's an indoor, you may expect the durability to have it around it as a year, years, and so forth, in plural. Whenever it's outdoor, obviously depends on the outside conditions, but we can have expectation of 6 months to 1 year, depending on the appropriate and the quality of the layering again and protecting as so forth in terms of the durability, passing the Willem tests, and a lot of different issues for you to understand. So that, as I mentioned to you, different things to evaluate prior or after the print in regard to the media. Oh, I went too much. Yeah. Now, here there is a range of lines that we can offer for the different applications, and I was mentioning especially there is special media that is the, for fine art or proofing and so forth. And all of them are the top notch again because they're coming from the photographic world with our technology within it. Now, the second secret about, let alone the media that has to be the good ingredient in the cake, the second would be the ability to control the color with the software. Our problem, and as I mentioned, as an graphic thing, is that you have different technologies. It happened to you already. You have your hair dryer. You want to put it in the UK, but you're coming from Italy. Bang, it doesn't fit. It doesn't match. Because each and one printer speaks its own language. The role of CMA in that perspective is to be what is called the international plug that will facilitate the correlation in between actually all these different languages to standardize the ability to color. And my colleague, Gerardo, will give right now, I say, the point on the software part. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Alex. So, now my turn will be to speak more about the software side. So we know that the material is extremely important to control the colors. You have to take into account many parts of it to make sure that the color is going to stay consistent all across the different media, the different printing technology, if it's an eco-solvent printer, UV, flatbed, if it's offset, if it's digital, or any kind of printing condition. So for that we have our software. The CMA software can allow you to control those colors all across the different devices. So we have solutions that are device independent and with some capabilities where you can control the colors through a database and to execute, for example, soft proofing, or to make build your own profiles to standardize the colors. Because when you look at the wall there where you have all the different materials, and if you want to get the same colors on different printing conditions, you should be able then to make the proper profiles, to calibrate properly the printing device, and to get all that. So our software here basically is going into this process where you can communicate from inside or outside, so you can do what we call remote proofing, or you can print from any location if you have different kind of shops, so you can control your colors all across the world. All that is going to a central database where you have all the different profiles, and going to these print and measurements, you can control and stabilize all your colors. We use in our software a patented four-dimensional color management technology because what we aim to do with this technology is to standardize the colors and to use then some standard profiles like the ISO-coated V2 or others, and we put that together into what we call device links. So it's combining a target profile and the printing conditions. We put that into one same profile, and then we can get the same colors on different printing methods. We have as well one solution which is on the cloud. For all the sign and display market, this is unique and it's new. It's like a revolution, I would say, in the color management or profiling, because now you don't need to have any more like a local solution. So you don't need to install it locally. You can simply, based on your requirements and demand, build your own profiles, your own device link profiles over the cloud. So there is a server where you can connect. You will download the test charts, and with your measurement device like an I1 or an I1 IO table, it will get all the measurements out to the cloud, build the profiles, and then you can download it. And you can use that profile into your workflow. So if you're using different RIPS technologies or others, you can use our profile inside to do the color standardization or ink saving or both. And the other tool we are presenting here at FESPA is our quality control tools to measure the colors and to certify the colors according to the different standards. So once again, you can print on any kind of printing device, if it's an inkjet printer, a digital press, an offset press, a white format, or even a monitor. You can calibrate all that and control your color consistency all across your workflow. All this information, the color information, is going to a central database, and this central database can be consulted, or you can have access to it over the web. All the measurements can as well be, you can generate your own reports to see if your colors stay consistent. So that's it. Any question?